Hello, beautiful teachers. How are you? Okay, so we're here for another segment of Impactful People Live. Today is a mentor series edition, and we're going to have Tom Waldron on. And okay, so Tom is, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but currently he has a program, Fit Floor Support for Life. But that's not really why I brought him on. We have a lot of really exciting things to talk about. So, okay, here we go. Hi, Tom. Here we go. There you are.
Hey, hi Alison.
Good to
I'm
see
doing
you.
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Okay, so what time is it where you are?
It's 6:30 p.m. UK time.
Okay, that's right, UK. And so I'm in Las Vegas. It's 10:30 a.m. here. So it always
How's the
amazes me the distance.
yeah? Well, how's the temperature? Because it's really warm here. We're not normally used to warm weather, but it's really warm at the moment.
What is warm for you?
Uh, yeah, warm for me. I mean, I'm not very good with warmth anyway. But I mean, I think it's like 29 degrees. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius, but it's not as warm as it gets.
So we're Fahrenheit, I believe, and so it's like right now it's 94. Today it'll be like 105.
Yeah,
which is
that's a lot. I think it's a lot warmer than me.
it is. Yeah, I saw your
Yeah.
post about that it's a hot day, so let's have a like easy class.
Yeah.
And I was laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta know what the temperature is.
Yeah, I know.
Las
I think
Vegas.
it's we're just not used to it. But I think in America, most of America, I think it's definitely warmer where you are. But it's all relative, isn't it?
It is. It is. So okay. So bring your camera. I can only see up to your eyes. Can you bring your camera?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So bring it.
I wonder. I can see all of me, but
Okay.
you can only see my eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it better if I bring it higher up the camera?
The camera, yeah.
Okay. Let me just think about that for a second. Or maybe
you can come lower.
Or I can
either one.
come lower down.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me try something. Give me a moment. I thought I was all set up, but clearly I wasn't.
No, it's fine. Oh, we got a lot of people. Hello, everybody. Please, if just say hi in the comments.
We're just doing camera refiguration. Is that better?
No, that's actually worse. So,
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
Bring it. If you go, maybe I'm saying the wrong way to go, but if you can bring your head like this, like down. Like that. That's how we can see you. So however that works for you.
Yeah.
Now somebody's saying it's worse. That's weird because
honestly, for me it's perfect, but obviously it's not coming across that way.
Now it's
everyone else.
Now
okay. Well, I can.
It was
I
better.
can lunge. I can stay down here.
I just didn't want the whole thing. I didn't want to not say anything and then the whole thing be like. So anyway, okay. So either way,
you got to say
have a good conversation.
Yeah. Well, Evelyn, I know you're watching. Evelyn, is it better now if I do this? Let me.
Yeah, somebody give us
a thumbs up or something.
It's usually delayed a little bit, so it'll take a minute.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about the panel.
It's good now.
It's good now. Okay, cool.
Okay, so welcome. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay
I can hear you. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I'm doing really good, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well. How's it all going your end, Alison?
Really great. I'm loving just all of your posts. That's what really prompted me to have you on again. You were on several years ago. We were talking about, at that time we were talking about anterior pelvic tilt, because that was kind of, at the time, kind of like hot topic. And today I've got some, easy stuff, fun stuff to talk about. And then I want to get into some like some stuff about the Pilates industry that I was so refreshed to see you talking about, but let's leave that till the end.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've got a little outline here. So anterior tilt and neutral pelvis. So let's just get this out like in the open. In our industry, it's very common, Pilates industry, to tell our clients to be in neutral pelvis. And in one of your recent posts, I have a whole bunch of them here, you said the reason why pelvic or spinal neutral won't look the same for everyone is because we don't all share the exact same anatomy. We can, however, share the same kinesthetic feeling of being in our center. So could we expand upon that? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, the first thing really is, so the traditional way of measuring neutral is and I'm going to get a pelvis out. Hopefully I'm still going to stay on the screen here. But the traditional way is people measure neutral via the horizontal line between your ASIS and your PSIS, so anterior superior iliac spine, posterior superior iliac spine. So one way of measuring is you might use your hands, or you might use some sort of measuring apparatus. And the idea is you want to see, well, are those two bony landmarks in a horizontal plane that's level? And then some people also use the bony landmarks of the pubis region here and the ASIS. So that would be more of like a vertical measurement, and then this would be more of a horizontal measurement. So that's like the classic way of measuring neutral pelvis. So that system would work absolutely fine if we reliably all had our bony landmarks in the same place. But we've got research now. There was a really good paper that I tend to reference a fair bit in 2008, where they had a bunch of frozen pelvic cadavers. So this is real anatomy. And they looked at that. So they put the pelvis in a quote unquote neutral position. So it wasn't tilted forward, it wasn't tilted back, it was in the center. And then when they measured the bony landmarks, they weren't lining up with that theoretical model. So, some pelvic girdles, it might be down here, the bony landmark of PSIS, and then the other one's higher up, and that's natural. So it's not like a biomechanical dysfunction. And then what was also really interesting is even on the same pelvic girdle, so the left pelvic bone here and the right pelvic bone here, even in the same pelvic girdle, there wasn't symmetry in a lot of the pelvic girdles. So it's not even that, let's say like the ASIS is a few degrees higher than the PSIS naturally, you won't even necessarily get that exact same measurement on the same side, on the same pelvis. So what that basically means is, from that point of view, we don't have a systematic, reliable way of even knowing if the pelvis is in neutral, if that's the measurements we're going to go off, because the measurements that we're using aren't reliable to that person's anatomy. So all it means is just anatomical variability exists in the demographic. It doesn't mean that people don't stand in neutral, but it just means that our ability to objectively and reliably assess that should be called into question, because we can't look past the skin. And then with regards to someone's kinesthetic experience, so one thing I was saying there is basically not everyone's neutral is going to look the same, because basically we have different anatomy. And then, however, that doesn't mean that someone can't have the experience of feeling like they're in their center or they're neutral. So what that means, what I meant when I said that, is, I work with a lot of people, and we're looking at the pelvis and the pelvic floor, and we're going through the different joints and how to move the joints. And just what I've experienced is when you give someone the space to move through all of their pelvic joints in 3 dimensions, and they're able to express that movement in 3 dimensions, what they often feel is when they stop moving and they're just standing, or if they're doing it sitting, they often report that they feel much more centered. And that might change their original alignment. They might be, it doesn't matter, but they might be more forward and then now something they're more back, or vice versa. So there might be like an actual, not structural, there might be like an actual biomechanical change there. But what I found more interesting was actually just their own proprioceptive perspective on their pelvis. which from a self-efficacy perspective and motivation perspective, I think is really important. Does that make sense what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, amazing. And I love that you brought that up, the self efficacy. That is so crucial in what we're doing, and when we get into the Pilates industry, that'll come into that. But yeah, like really looking at just how are people feeling? How are people feeling? How does it feel rather than how does it look?
Yeah.
Which for dancers, you were a dancer. Were you No, you were a skateboarder.
Yes.
Your sisters.
Yeah. My sisters were dancers. Yeah, I skateboarded poorly, but I did do it.
So, well, I mean, you can even, I mean, maybe in that, well, I mean, you know, because of your sisters dance, and anybody that was a dancer can relate to this, it is purely physical. Like they want you to look a certain way. And so I'm sure many people that grew up in ballet class that had a little bit more of the behind were, you know, told to tuck it under, you know, and look a certain way. And I mean, out of pain. I mean, you know, you deal with pain to get into these positions. And I think that as a teacher, it's really important to not put that on our clients. That the exercise has to look a certain way, or they even have to look a certain way. That's something I learned. For sure.
Well, no, I'm really with you, because that's what I meant. One of the things I think I said about recently about Pilates being more inclusive, and it doesn't mean that we have to throw everything out of the bathtub, but it's just like being aware of, you know, people are just going to look different, aren't they? So if you're going to work with, you know, anybody, like they're going to look different. So, you know, we can't have these. I don't think there's anything wrong with having aesthetics, because, you know, if you're going to get into the world of art or whatever, like, you know, things just look a certain way, and it's okay to have aesthetic, you know, predispositions to what you prefer or whatever. I'm not against that at all. However, you know, aesthetics and function aren't necessarily the same thing, and they often battle each other. And I think when we have these like rigid aesthetic expectations that don't even necessarily relate to function, and then we try and put that on someone who just structurally isn't going to adhere to some rigid linear view of how the body should look, I think that's when like we kind of fail people sometimes, not just in Pilates, but just in general, if we're always expecting people to perform or look a certain way. Where whenever I've taken Pilates classes, it took me years to figure this out, but I just found that the teachers who spoke more about feeling and your own sense of your own body, that just felt better. And I didn't know that until later when I really thought about it. It's because they're not telling me how to look, and they're not telling me how to feel either, but they're giving me options and how I could feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is amazing. If you're here, I see a lot of people here watching. Please comment, put in your info, your comments and ideas and what you're thinking or questions. We'd love to have this be a conversation with all of us. So, okay.
Always. So
let's see. Next item is the pelvic floor, and you're doing the pelvic floor course, right? Well, you're getting ready to do another round. It's a 6-week, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So one of the things we see a lot in pre and postnatal, and to this day, you will look up like what are the international guidelines, okay? I just looked this up this weekend. It still says Kegels.
Yes.
It still says Kegels.
And
that's just like, we have so much work to do to get to the people that are creating the guidelines, basically, right? So let's talk about that. Kegel and the pelvic floor, and actually what helps to condition.
Yeah, I think like one thing is it's always just good to know what things are. So for example, like the pelvic floor is mainly skeletal muscle tissue. It's not all skeletal muscle tissue, but it mostly is. So that means that most of your pelvic floor is the same type of muscle tissue as your bicep or your glute max or your quad muscles. So what does that mean? It means that you can load your pelvic floor just like how you might want to load your biceps in the gym to make them bigger and stronger, for example.
Okay.
So you know, if you were to go to the gym and you wanted to, you know, get stronger, let's use the bicep example. So you want to get stronger biceps. You know, you wouldn't go to the gym and think, okay, I'm going to do a 45-minute exercise session on my biceps, and the whole time I'm just going to do this. Like I'm just gonna like isometrically engage my bicep. Like if you did that, it would just be like, it would look weird and it wouldn't really make much sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you probably look very vain as well, just to be like in the mirror, like testing your bicep. So like if you're like really deconditioned, like, which is, and again, like those people do exist, but they're probably, for most people watching this video, you know, you're probably not dealing with people that are like so severely deconditioned that they would actually get strength and proprioceptive gains from just pulsing a muscle. So they do exist, but it's definitely not the norm. So what does that mean? So, well, why do we settle for that being our form of training when it comes to the pelvic floor? Because when we're doing those cues, we're essentially just isometrically engaging the floor, maybe a little bit of concentric work. But there's not a lot of talk about how do you eccentrically strengthen the pelvic diaphragm. And then that's essentially where we can look at, well, how does the pelvis move? How does it move externally? How does it move internally? And then how can we move the pelvis in a way, or how can we even breathe in a way where we encourage more of an eccentric loading at the pelvic floor? And then because the pelvic floor muscles is mainly skeletal, well, that means we can actually manipulate things like springs in a reformer, or loading like a weight or bands, to actually load and progressively strengthen the pelvic floor. So I think what we're really lacking is we're lacking a lot of things in pelvic floor education, but I think one of the things is progressive loading. So how do we progressively load the pelvic floor over time so it can actually withstand the many different types of forces that it has to deal with on a daily basis to avoid the risk of prolapse or leakage or those sort of things. So I think the issue with the Kegel stuff is like, yeah, it's just, you know, it might be a good starting point for some people in terms of awareness, proprioception, knowing where the floor is. There's a place for it. However, as a general cue or as even a point of reference, we shouldn't be stuck there.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that's what you do and that's the end of the story. Because it would be exactly the same thing as if you wanted to, you know, develop the gluteal muscles. You wouldn't just be tensing your glutes, you know, 10 times a day. Like it wouldn't work. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's beautiful. You always make sense. I was just talking to my students about you last week in one of our meetings, and because one of my students brought up your diastasis recti twisting exercises, and she said she did it with a client. It was really great, and we were talking about just how simple you make things. You have it really is a gift. Like to know as much as you do and still be able to simplify it, say it in one post is a gift, and you're really, really good at it. So, and we think it's because you're a man. We think men, because women overthink everything and want to try, you know, and so we love it. So Evelyn says that your pelvic floor training is fantastic. Once you gain an understanding of the pelvic floor, you really do learn to move differently, both in exercise and daily movement. Yeah, I'm excited to take your training.
Well, just on that, if you don't mind me saying, like it's been a real blessing, you know, because obviously in the industry that we're in, it's predominantly female, like the Pilates world. So like it's been on my end, like, you know, I work with mainly women, and I've worked with mainly women for the last like 12 years. And there's always like, you know, and I get it, there's always sometimes like an inherent barrier if you're like a male working with a woman, because there's things that I've not experienced, or there's things that like anatomy that I don't have. So what's been really rewarding is actually to try and be more simple but clear, because I need in some ways when you're a guy, you almost have to like, there's almost more barriers to overcome to build that trust with female clients. Not always, on a like over, you know, paint a broad brush. But I think that challenge has been really beneficial with trying to keep things relatively clear and straightforward, in a way that clients can also understand as well.
Yeah, because you teach
I mean, your program is open to everybody.
Yeah, the program is geared towards professionals primarily.
Okay.
So the content, yeah. So how it works is there's 3 classes a week. One's a theory class, and it's very much like anatomy, biomechanics. We do 90 minutes of that a week, and then the other 2 sessions are movement sessions, based around either sensory movement, or it's about strength. But especially that first class of the week, the theory one, that's very much based around helping professionals feel more comfortable working with clients, and also being able to explain things hopefully in a relatively clear and simple way. So then when they are doing exercises, you get them, you get the motivation with the client too. But yeah, I've had a few people that aren't professionals come on, and that's absolutely fine. I always say, oh, just so you know, it's quite dense with information as well. But in terms of the exercises, you can benefit from that. Yeah, anyone can do that.
So it is like more towards professionals though, like that's your
Yeah.
demographic. Good. Okay.
Definitely. I wanted to do something where professionals could just hopefully learn things in a more digestible way over like a 7-week period. So it's not just like, I love doing these webinars that I do like 3-hour webinars, but sometimes it's quite nice to actually be like, well, let's just do 7 weeks. Yeah. So it's 25+ hours, and we're going to like take our time and go through these different topics with animations. I'm working with an animator now in Japan, so he's it's so cool. So he's making animations from basics, so I get to show like how the urogenital triangle gets to stretch and stuff with the sit bones, and so just like finding different means to explain the same thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. And obviously you love what you do. You can tell that you really so this is a good segue.
Okay.
Because one of the things you said in one of your Pilates industry posts is if you aren't enjoying teaching your Pilates and movement classes, you're doing it wrong. And I mean, yeah, like that's come down to it. Okay, so I was like, all of this, like, I'm like, okay, I have so many stories. There's 2 I'm going to tell, short stories about my experience dealing with its pretentiousness in the Pilates industry. And one of them, it didn't have to do with me directly, but it was just in a group, like a Pilates group, like teacher group. And one of the questions was like, what's your biggest challenge in teaching Pilates? And someone said people. I was like, okay, like obviously if you don't like people, then you probably shouldn't be doing this. But so it was so great. Like, yeah, like we're working with people. That's what we're doing. And I think that, I mean, just your demeanor, your energy is very calming, and you're really good at always pointing out like everything is, like this way is fine. It's just a matter of a different perspective. And then in a lot of these posts, may I read some of them?
Please do.
Okay, so let's see, here we go. Including a non-Pilates exercise into a Pilates class based on your client's needs isn't being a fake Pilates teacher. It's demonstrating critical thinking, creativity, and duty of care to your client. Okay, let me keep going.
No, well, do you want me to comment on that? Let me know when you want to comment on them. I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, let me do one more here because that has to do with that. Okay, this is the really good one. Exercise science has progressed since the early 1900s, which means any Pilates teacher that deviates from original Pilates has every right to do so.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, comment.
No, I mean, like, so where all that comes from, so I'm not trying to, excuse my English, I'm not trying to piss people off. Like, I don't like enjoy that, because it's just like, it never feels good when you're trying to, like, when you upset people, or like, I'm just not coming from that place, to be honest, at all. But I guess to give it all background, like, my experience teaching Pilates when I first started teaching was I was lucky enough that my sister had a studio in the village that I was living in at the time. So my experience of Pilates was I did my trainings, and I loved going to London, and I learned from amazing people. And I did all the different all the different pieces of equipment and learned from different teachers. It was great. And then it was really fun to then take all of that information and bring it back to my sister's studio, where it was just her and I teaching for many years. So I had this whole studio to myself, and then I had this clientele base that I was working with. And so it was just really enjoyable to not have any prying eyes on me, where, like, you know, I can imagine maybe if you're in like a commercial place or maybe like one of those like hub studios, which I really like them, but I could just imagine there's probably a lot of judgment that goes on sometimes in those places, like the choices you might make with your exercises or the language you use. And I was just kind of in this like free flowing place for like 6 years, where I really got to enjoy and find excitement in teaching people how to like feel better and move more freely. So I think I had a bit of a naivety. So when I was there for 6 years, and then I left, and I was closer to London, and I just kind of didn't realize how shitty some people could be, basically. And so it took me a second to adjust to it, you know. But I just kind of feel like I've always just come from the place of, you know, there's always this great heritage of work that you can get inspired by, and I really respect people that want to keep things to a certain. If they have like a certain vision for something, I really respect people trying to maintain that vision and however they see it. But I've just always come from the place of remixing and adding and playing around with ideas, and that's just served me really well. Like in terms of like, I love what I do a million times more than when I first started, but I loved it back then. So it's just been like, I always feel like this might sound a bit esoteric, but you don't get to choose what engages you. Now, so the idea is you think, well, I've got a brain and I decide what I like and what I don't like in X, Y, and Z. And what I kind of realized was actually, well, no, you don't get to choose that. When something engages you or you get passionate about something, it chooses you, and then it's your choice whether you follow it or not. And so I've always just chosen what I feel really passionate about and what I'm really engaged in. And my version of Pilates just hasn't been, I have to know exactly what they did in the 1900s and keep to that, because otherwise I'm like a phony, or just never really had that restriction. So I guess like when a lot of those posts, it's almost trying to big people up a bit more. So I work with a lot of teachers who have like a similar propensity towards maybe like, you know, doing their own thing a bit more, but then they get loads of judgment online, or they get messages from people and they get kind of torn down a little bit. And I just kind of wanted to do a few posts where it's almost, you know, maybe it's like a little motivational coach just saying like, actually, you can do what you want. You haven't got to answer to anybody. If you're changing things based on someone's needs and their wants, that's you actually thinking critically and being a modern day teacher. And then but also not saying what the other people are doing are wrong, but it's just having a voice. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of like supporting the other point as well.
Yeah, like it. Yeah. When you said people getting messages, it's just like, it's, well, I mean, that's really what it is. And I feel like if it is, so, I mean, we're talking, if we're going to label things, we're talking about classical versus contemporary. And at least that's how I was taught contemporary. I was told that that this is contemporary, what you're learning. And then I was learning from classical teachers, like strictly classical teachers. And that's when I started to experience a lot of the pretentiousness and one particular incident that did directly have to do with me was I had taken the 34 mat. So I'd taken the classical exercises and I had made them safe for pregnancy and postpartum. And this was many years ago. And because that was one of the needs. People were saying, you know, you absolutely have to modify classical exercises for pre and postnatal women. And so anyway, so it's this group, and I had posted that this is what I had. It was for classical teachers, and it was in a classical group, and the post was taken down. And I was sent a message that because I am not classically trained, that I may not even try, basically. may not even share my ideas about my expertise and try to apply it to this. And that, you know, it really showed me, wow, how like defensive maybe that can get. And I don't know why. I don't know where, like, when that started or who, you know what I mean? Because I think as the lineage comes down, it's like, who is teaching the teacher? Because obviously they're learning it from somewhere. You know, that this is right and this is wrong. And not to be kind. I think the biggest thing is just like, that's totally fine. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, totally fine. Like you said, like, if that's what they want to do, it's about how you are treating the other teacher or just people in general. It's like, you know, it's like that whole like cliche, be kind. Yes. Like, be kind. Like, sending somebody a message saying that you're it's doing Pilates wrong or whatever, you know, that's like, and to a new teacher.
Well, I've got two things on that, which, because I'm just to like bounce off that actually, because, so here's one thing. So, and this is evidence-based. So if you teach neutral spine and pelvis, you will help people get out of back pain. If you don't teach neutral pelvis and spine, you will help people get out of back pain. So both ideas can coexist and be beneficial for the demographic. We don't have to do shouting matches about if someone's pelvis is in neutral, you're going to wreck them. But we also don't have to even say, if you teach neutral, you're wrong. So my preference isn't to teach neutral, and I can explain why, like you can, and everyone has their area of where they teach from. But I think what really changed things for me was, even the approach that I don't necessarily enjoy, there's efficacy in that. And so I think like what's been interesting for me over the past couple of years has been actually, well, there's efficacy in all these approaches. We need to stop confusing the public about what exercise they should be doing. There's obviously always going to be a type of exercise that is optimal for someone, and also a type of exercise that would be that person's preference. But I think when we get into the thing of like, well, that's wrong, or they're going to hurt someone, or X, Y, and Z, like, I think that's when we can be a bit disingenuous sometimes as a community, because what we're basically doing is we're not acknowledging the nuance that is evidence-based, that multiple approaches can work for the same issue. It's the same with core engagement. I don't teach core engagement. I do sometimes for a very specific issue with the pelvic floor, but otherwise I don't teach it. And if you want to go back into the back pain literature, there is efficacy in teaching core engagement. There is efficacy in not teaching core engagement. So in my mind, both camps are correct. And I just think for me, it takes away like that kind of emotional or that energetic jolt of someone's attacking me. Maybe I'm wrong, or they're wrong, and you get into this like really narrow thought process of like, how am I going to like tear this person down? Or how am I going to defend my point? Right. And then what I've just found, which is almost kind of, it's a bit comical, is I just actually try and defend their point, even if they're being aggressive to me. And then I'll just be like, and this is why I think this. So it's almost like attacking it from there's a really great rule in the, it's a really good book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's called.
that's the,
You know this
book?
Yeah.
Tagged out. I love it, yeah.
So good. And it's, I think it's like a really hard rule to adhere to, but it's a really good one. And it's seek first to understand, then to be understood. So if you can understand what someone, and some people are just dicks. They're just got always, don't get me wrong. Some people are just gonna like have a go at you. It doesn't matter how open-minded you are, or it doesn't matter. But I just think in terms of like just how you want to conduct yourself, well, if you could just really understand where someone's coming from, and you listen to them, and then you ask, well, do you want to hear now what I think? Most people will actually then, their guards will be down, and then they'll actually listen to you. Yeah. And I just think a lot of time in the Pilates world, it just gets a bit tit for tat sometimes, and it's just not that interesting. Do you know what I mean? It's just not even that interesting. Like, well, I'd rather just like how people move better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So Critical Movement NC says, thank you for saying all of this here and within the yoga community. Yeah. okay, so let's see. And so jumping off of what you just said, you said that, yeah, if this is another post, if the Pilates community focused on making Pilates more accessible to the general public, as much as they do criticizing different Pilates styles and approaches, creating unnecessary hierarchies, the population would be much healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always bring it back to Joseph Pilates' vision of return to life.
Mm-hmm.
That is what he wanted to do. That's the name of his memoir or his manifesto. And did you know that he says words like vitality, friendship, uplift over 100 times in this 20-page manifesto? It's all about making someone's life better. And my theory, this is what I think, why people feel better, whether you're teacher neutral or not, is because they're moving. I think that it comes into the nervous system, that they're working with people, maybe that it's a person. It's so much deeper than physical. And I think the physical is just the kind of jumping off point. But that, if everybody wants to argue, let's at least agree, return to life. Like that's what Joseph Pilates wanted.
And not to get too woo-woo, because I do that sometimes.
That's okay.
But I just think
I'm into it. Yeah.
Well, I just think as well, it's also, sometimes in the science community, we talk about self-efficacy and this idea of, it's not even necessarily important what you quote unquote do, but it's their interpretation of what you're doing. And on one level, that can be almost a bit dismissive, because what do you mean it's not important what I do? What I do has this importance, and this is why I'm doing it. And so I find that duality really interesting, because I think a lot of it is even down to energetics. And I do think it's really important how you talk and how you hold yourself, and also just having a genuine care for the person you're working with, and not having, like we said earlier on, that snootiness of your pelvic tilt isn't quite where it should be, but we're going to get, do you know what I mean? Just this weird energy power dynamic that people do. And some people like that, I get it. Some people quite like to have a bit of a, master disciple thing, whatever. It's not really my thing, but I think I just got to a point, go back to a thing earlier on about having fun. Because I take what I do really seriously. I study really hard. I try and listen to loads of people. So I take what I do really seriously. But then when it comes to actually doing it, I just try and be as light-hearted as I can. Because I know a lot of people, they come in and they've got a million worries. They might have family stuff going on, or with their friend, or work stuff. Everyone comes in with their stresses. And they come to us. They trust us with one of the most, if not the most important thing in their life, which is how they are going to be in the world physically, their physicality, and longevity, and even enjoying that. And so I just think it's really important to just be aware of the energy that you're giving off as well. Get really good at the teaser, absolutely. Why not? But also just be aware of your energy while you're demonstrating the teaser as well. Are you doing it to show off, or to show some sort of importance, or are you doing it because you're trying to show someone an option and how they can be in their body? And do you know what I mean? I think that's quite a different teaching point.
Yes. Energy is huge. I always show where's my energy stick? Do I have it here? Yeah. So I always show this. Did I show this to you before?
No.
So this is
cool.
A science, they do this in science experiments with kids. It's just called the energy rod. And it's just showing that we literally are, we have electricity going through us. So we are completing the circuit.
Oh, cool.
We complete
That's
the circuit.
Awesome.
Literally energy is running through our body. And so I love to show this to students and to clients, to really, bring that point home, that so much of what you do. And I really started to get into this with my business coach, James Wedmore, is really into that. And one of his first lessons is about you as the business owner, and how it does have everything to do with you, how you are presenting
how you're showing
to the world.
up.
Yeah, how you're showing up.
And it's also like,
and yeah,
like it's just sorry, but it's so like we're so important as Pilates teachers. Like I really think like we're so important because like you're like someone's opportunity to really get to enjoy moving and exercising and feeling better. Like if you really break it down, like you can absolutely completely change someone's life if you give them like opportunity to like move in a certain way or even think in a certain way or have a different interpretation. And that just compounds over weeks, months and years. I just think we're so important. And it's almost like taking a bit of pride in that. It's like, yeah, like, you know, and you're not for everyone, I'm not for everyone. Like, it's not like you've got to be, you know, that important figure for everybody. But, you know, the teachers that I've had who are Pilates teachers, like, they've like really, truly changed my life in really deep ways. And on the surface, you go, oh, it's Pilates. But it's like, well, yeah, but it's actually how people are relating to each other and how you're communicating with people. And I just think it's so, the older I get, like it's so important. Like that realization gets a bit deeper. Like just taking ownership for, like you just said, how you are in your business or how you are in the classroom or on a Instagram live video.
Right. It is. It's just there's so much, and so I thank you for having the bravery that most teachers don't have to let teachers know that what they're doing is okay and not to let anybody tell them that what they're doing is not okay. I love your post about the kettlebell. I used a kettlebell in Pilates today. Don't tell the Pilates police.
Yeah, that one upset people actually. I wasn't aware that one actually. It's funny. I can't predict which ones because I never mean to upset people.
No.
But sometimes it's like I think it's a joke. And then some people take it really, and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to upset. But yeah, I just think, again, it's just having a bit of levity, isn't it, sometimes? Because, like, I always just think as well, like everyone watching this, and you don't need me to tell you this, like, everyone knows this already, but it's like, you are already helping, like, countless people by helping them move in any which way that you're helping them move. Yeah. And you don't have to listen to someone just because they put themselves in a like perceived position of authority. It's just like the Wizard of Oz. Like I've met a lot of these gurus or elders, and actually all of them have been lovely people and really interesting. And I've had dinner with them, been lucky enough to have like a coffee with them or dinner with them. And you just realize, oh, these are just people. And actually most of them are awesome and really cool and really open-minded. But it just becomes this mirage sometimes. We just kind of put people on this pedestal, whether they want to be or not. Right. And then we think there's like this kind of special group that you have to be in. So you're already in the special group. But you haven't got to like impress anyone.
I love that. I just was gonna jump off to another idea here that you had. What upset people? Yes. Well, you said people were upset by your kettlebell and Pilates police. I mean, obviously, and the people that are watching, we have to know, because it is easy to take anything personally. Yeah. And it really, so we have to know like that you or I or nobody is trying to, poke at anybody. It's that person's perceived. But I mean, like, what was the upset? Because I wouldn't think that would upset anybody.
No, I know. I really didn't see it coming. There was two types, and I respect both of it. But like, one person thought I was being. I think in the past they just think, oh, I've been so good at supporting both ends. I think how they interpreted that message was they thought I was being mean about a certain group of Pilates teachers by calling them Pilates police. And in my head, I just thought, when I think of Pilates police, I just think of people that are being mean online. I don't know. I don't ask them if they're contemporary, classical, whatever. I don't personally care, to be honest. So I think they just interpret that as I was picking on a particular group. And then the other one was, they just thought it was really inappropriate to bring a kettlebell into the Pilates studio, which that was my, I was like, it's so good. Because I was just like, again, it's like they didn't know the context of what I was doing, based on the client's goals or what they were. So it was just like, it's funny when it's like, again, it's a bit, what's the right word? It's like, what's the right word? I guess it's like being dogmatic. Yeah, dogmatic. So it's like, you know, there's no room for just being like, I wonder why he did that, or what was like the benefit. It just goes straight to like, we don't do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, they're reinforcing your joke. That's the Pilates police. Like,
yeah. So, it's so good.
It's just such a great conversation. Is anything else that you want to share before I let you go? Well, actually, I kind of want to do this backwards because I didn't get to do this in the beginning because I was so focused on the camera.
That's okay. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like our history, I think I don't even remember. Maybe I found you on Instagram, but this was like 2020, 2021-ish. And you came and you did a workshop for us, and we had a few discussions about body image. That was the topic at the time. Anyway, and I've just love to just continue to learn from you because you make it so simple. And so like wrapping this up, and then anything else you want to say, like, how did you get into what you're doing? And I mean, really, like, I think you grew fast, like as far as like up to a teacher teaching teachers.
How did I get into it? So in a nutshell, I was practicing personal training. I was a personal trainer, and I was also a sports massage therapist at the time. And I wasn't really like, I was kind of into what I was doing, but I just, you know, it was just like, I was like in my early 20s maybe, or was like 19, something like that. And I had like an interest in the body, but I hadn't really found like my gateway yet. Like, what was I doing? And then I was really lucky. Like my sister needed some cover, and she's this really brilliant dance teacher, Pilates teacher. So I moved into her village. That was meant to be just over the summer, and then it turned up to being 6 years in the end. And I just got really inspired. I think like it was the first time where I was around people that had really like designed their own life. Like they were like, well, yeah, you can teach this much, or you can, you know, this can be your job. Like you can go in every day, and you can actually have a job you enjoy. And when I was initially teaching, I did my Pilates qualification. I had a stutter. So when I grew up, I couldn't hear out of one ear, so I missed a lot of phonemes growing up. So that just developed into a stutter. And so I had this real fear of teaching in front of people because I would fall over every third or fourth word, especially long anatomy words. And I was getting really, really frustrated. And I also didn't know a lot about anatomy, so I didn't know how to answer all these questions that clients had about their body. So I spent about a year just studying anatomy on my own before I went out to America and then traveled loads to do other qualifications. But I just thought I'd get a book, I'd get a skeleton, I'll just start to learn a little bit. So then when someone asks, where's their piriformis, I can at least show them somehow. But then what I found was I literally woke up one day and my stutter had gone. And I think a lot of that was I was practicing like a lot of somatic stuff without really realizing what I was doing. Like a lot of meditation, imagery stuff, talking in front of people. And so for me, like that's when it really, like about a year into teaching Pilates, I just suddenly got incredibly passionate about being able to communicate with people. But it was in a context where I was actually helping people feel better or move better or be stronger, be more flexible. And then I traveled all around. I met like amazing teachers. And I think I was just like this passionate, young, skinny guy running around, and they were happy to have me around. So I was able to do, I was able to repeat courses that I paid for because I'd buy them coffee or I'd, you know, get them the projector or something. And so I was able to like learn a lot on the go. So, and then that's kind of been my trajectory really. I was lucky enough to be around a lot of educators very young. So I got to see how you know, set up a classroom, or how you talk to students and how that's different to clients. And then it kind of they both fed each other. So then I'd do these courses, I'd get really inspired, I'd come back to the studio, and then I'd like get really inspired teaching clients all these new exercises or techniques. And yeah, that's kind of been my journey really. I was basically right place, right time, but it kind of teaching Pilates, to be honest, solved a lot of like inner stuff with regards to not being able to communicate which was affecting every other aspect of my life. So that was like really powerful at the time to have that massive change.
That is amazing. I don't know, you may have mentioned that in one of our interviews, but
yeah.
my 9-year-old has a little bit of a stuttering problem. Did you know that they don't even have that word in like India or something?
Oh, really?
They don't have, yeah. And so then they don't have it, I guess. Anyway, so my son has a little bit, he's 9 years old, 4th grade. He just started 4th grade, and he still has, he was in speech last year, and the stuttering is better, but he can't say his R's. He still is having a really hard time with his R's. He's incredibly intelligent. He's like in the highest, level at school or whatever. But so I love that you told that story about how your teaching and experience really healed the inner part of you. I think that's huge for Pilates teachers to understand and to build your confidence. I mean, I talk about that all the time, is like teachers' confidence in themselves and what they're doing. And I think that's amazing. I think
for me, like, and this is definitely in alignment with Joseph Pilates, was I think for me it was like, oh wow, like you can actually change, like for the better. Like, and I think like I'd always like, obviously you can say that and you might have that as an idea in your head, but then to actually like literally wake up one day and be like, I was waiting to have like an issue with my speech, and it comes back sometimes, but like genuinely it's like a million times better than it was. And then that like opened up my posture. I was teaching more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was such a trajectory. And I just think, again, like, that's why I say, like, the Pilates teachers, like, you're so like important, because I know that's true, because my own teaching has been really important for me. And I've also had important shifts through other teachers as well. And I just think it's reminding ourselves of that as well. Like, what we do, like, we help people on so many levels that isn't just their alignment or their fitness level. It's like, it's so multifaceted how we can influence people's lives. So I think that's like really cool. Like, how cool is that? You get to do that for a living. Amazing.
It's because everything is connected. I just saw, I don't know if he's still on here, but I saw Paul Thornley pop on for a minute. He's the fascia guy. But yeah, because everything is connected. We're not separate. Like, everything is connected. It was a beautiful story. I think that you're giving a lot of Pilates teachers the courage to step out. I always say there is a client out there right now who is not being helped because a Pilates teacher, because that client needs the one Pilates teacher that hasn't stepped out and like said, hey, I'm here to help yet. And the ones that have no problem doing that might be the ones that are a little overconfident. It's sure.
One,
you know what I mean? Yes. So
Yeah.
please listen to Tom and get out there.
Just on that, sorry, I think it's such a good point, Alison. Like, just to like almost finish on that as well. Like, the people that I've met, the teachers that have typically the least confidence in terms of like sharing their ideas or even putting themselves out there in like a sellable way to other clients, they're the ones that are normally really, really smart. They really overthink things and they really, really care. And so they don't want to do the wrong thing. Yeah. And it's not to say that if you're really confident that you're the other way at all. I'm not saying that. However, if you know you are someone who really, really cares, you're always trying to better yourself, and you just really enjoy teaching Pilates, but you struggle with communicating that sometimes, like, almost view it as like a challenge that you owe it to the people that you're going to help in the future by getting better at delivering what you do more clearly and succinctly. Because it's not about you, it's actually about helping other people that are going to need you in the future. And so it's just being aware, like, how can I be more accessible to those people now and later?
Yes. It's called the Dunning, I'm sure you've heard it, Dunning-Kruger effect. Where you believe, if teachers don't know what that is, it's where the less you know, the more confident you are, because you don't know what you don't know. And the more you know, the less confident you are, because you know there's more to know. So you're right. You're totally right about that. So, okay, well, let me, so your course that's coming up is Fit Floor Support for Life.
Yeah.
Pelvic floor.
Thank you. Yeah. So
program.
Yeah. So Fit for Sport for Life, it's a 7-week online program where we go through every single aspect of the pelvic floor with regards to how to improve continence, support, but also reduce discomfort and restriction of the pelvis. So what we do is every single week is a different theme. We spend a whole week on the urogenital triangle. We spend a whole week on the relationship between the abdominals and the pelvic floor, breathing, fascia. We do a whole week on the jaw. So the whole point of it is we actually take our time and go through, in a theory and practical sense, how can we train this aspect to pelvic floor health. And the reason why we do it in that way is so professionals that come in and they might have a bunch of clients in the class that have pelvic issues or they have one-to-ones, is to give them update evidence-based information where they can actually help their clients with their pelvic health issues. And what's been really amazing, because this is part of the goal of the program, is it's for people to have their own physical insights as they're taking the program. So what's been amazing is a lot of people who have taken the program have actually improved their pelvic floor health, or one lady had like hip pain from osteoarthritis, and she's reported after doing some pelvic floor stretches, the hip pain's gone. Wow. So what's been really great is like the point of the program is get to know your pelvis better and how you can help your pelvis if that's one of your goals, but then also how you can, in a meaningful way, help people with their own pelvic health goals as well. So it's all online, everything's recorded. There's no expiry date, so it's not to be like, it's not like, oh, here's 24 hours, now it's gone. It's like, rather than just do that, it's really about how can we make learning engaging, fun, but also convenient, because everyone has their busy lives and different time zones. And we have a community group as well where people can openly share feedback or insights or questions. So it's been really fun. I'm really loving spending more time with people weekly as a community. It's been really, really rewarding. So I'm really enjoying it. So the next, I'll just say now, the next program will be on the 4th of November. It will go for 7 weeks. And there is currently an early bird discount where you save £250. So I can maybe share the link in this video on replay or something. I could do it now, actually. I'm not sure if that will work.
Well, send it, actually, put it in the comments, but then also we'll put it, because the comments disappear in the replay. So I'll put it in the actual, like the description. Is it up already on your website? Is it up already on your
it is, yes.
Bio?
It's not in my bio, but I can put it on my bio. Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
I will do that.
And when does the 250 expire? Because that's a huge savings.
You know what? I should have done it off the top of my head. So where are we now? We're in August. So that will expire in 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
2 weeks.
I'm gonna get signed up. I'm gonna take it. I'm taking it. So I'll see you there for sure. Very excited.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you, Tom. You're amazing. I'm just so grateful to have you and see you. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We had somebody say thank you for the chat. So yes, you're so welcome. If you're watching the replay, send Tom a message. Let him know, any feedback that you have, if it helped you. And let's go out there and help people. That's what we're
100%. Yeah, thank you so much, Alison. It's been really fun.
Thank you, everybody.
Great to see you.
Bye.
You as well.
You too. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.